Yo, yo, get up, nah I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
What's up, everybody? I'm Brandon Tracks High with Chicago Sports Podcast, a monster of the Madhouse, and we are with Darius Lockhart. Darius, how you doing today, brother?
Oh, great. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, so hey, let's get into it. I know you guys all want to know about the week fantasy football rankings. The playoffs are here or not, and who to start next week. So no fluff for you, man. I know this is do or die for some of you. Some of you are already out, but you can still play and have fun, even though it don't matter. But let's get to the rankings, the sleepers, all the game notes, and everything else. And just as a reminder, I always have some fun with some fun ranks at the end. It could be anywhere from cartoons to Halloween candy, 80s things. Where you're over 30, feel free to suggest what you want us to do. But again, we thank you guys for joining us. And if you like anything that we are talking about, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. So let's get into week 15. Darius, let's just go ahead and take the Band-Aid off, man. Are you in the playoffs or not?
In one of my leagues, yes, I am.
Nice.
Yes, I am. Actually, I'm in two leagues, so I'm in actually three leagues, but in two of the leagues, I am in the playoffs. I barely got in.
He's got so many leagues, he can't even remember whether he's in or not, man. But so you're in two of them. That's good, buddy. 2 for 3. That's not bad at all, bud.
Nah, I made the second one barely, but I'm in. All I can ask for is, all I want is a chance.
Hey, Darius, I'll tell you what, man. It was crazy. If you remember when we started this a few weeks back, I was bottom, dead last in our league, in our Chicago Sports Podcast League. Now I'm first with a bye. So it's crazy how things work out. And one of my lead guys was Chubbs. I was really excited about him coming back, and he never did nothing. And I just ended up just kind of hitting up the the free agency and seeing what I could get. Now I already had guys that I drafted and they were, up and down throughout the year, but they all just came together and just shined at the right time, man. So I'm in, man. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right, Darius?
Absolutely. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. I know sometimes these guys start off slow, but it's unpredictable. All you gotta do is stay in the fight, man. Keep fighting.
Yeah, so speaking of a fight, man, Thursday night was a fight, right? Rams at Niners. Talk about a battle of low scoring. I mean, the defenses are top 6 in allowing TDs. Rams at 27% and 49ers at 26, almost 27%. Did you pick them right on that? Did you pick Garendo? Who else did you pick to start and to sit? Is that something that you kind of had on a radar where it was going to be close scoring and not a lot of scoring, or what did you think?
Not at all. I was looking for a shoot. I was definitely looking for a shootout, and some players that I had my eye on, of course, was Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams. The quarterbacks as well. I thought they were going to really put up a pretty good display. Isaac Garendo, based off the things that he did to the Bears, I was looking for him to at least score a touchdown the way Shanahan likes to run things. And, of course, George Kittle.
Baby. Yeah.
Debo's been pretty inconsistent most of the year, so I didn't really expect too much from him.
Yeah.
But, those guys that I named prior to, I definitely expected a bigger impact than they had.
Yeah, what a letdown, right? You didn't think Debo, especially after that contract and whatever. I mean, they put him in every position, rightfully so. They did everything with him. He was like the Swiss Army knife. And this year, it's just like you barely hear about him, man.
Just huge drops. And when you hear about him, it's not very good things, man. It's
Well,
huge
that's what they
drops.
were
And
saying. That's what they were saying about the Niners this year. If there was, if the Niners didn't have so many dropped balls against the Rams, the score would have been entirely different.
yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But
Let
if you
Go
pick
ahead.
these guys on defense, if you pick these guys defense, though, I think you scored pretty well in the field goal kickers. But other than
Yep.
that, this was a dud.
Yep. So fast forward to the Chiefs and Browns today at noon, 1 o'clock Eastern. Since his second game with the Chiefs, DeAndre Hopkins has never run more than 68% of the routes. It's bounced around at 12.5 to 25 for TMTG. He's more of a floor option, but his ceiling makes him one of the Chiefs wideouts, man. What do you do? Do you start this guy, or how do you feel about him and Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, all these guys?
The thing about the Chiefs, man, and this is another thing that makes them great. They're
Yeah,
so unpredictable. You can't necessarily plan for them week to week because they have so many different type of weapons at their disposal. They can beat you in a number of ways. This week against Cleveland, Cleveland likes to give it up in the pass game, so this could be a week for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean Hopkins, and we also know that Travis Kelce's going to be in the building. So, and if you have, the Chiefs run, it's funny how they run the game, how they do the run game, but they're so damn effective, man. You know,
yeah. But
but
as far as who to start out there, who would you start with the Chiefs, man? I mean, we gotta talk about who to start, who to sit. I'm sitting, as far as the Browns concerned. I'm sitting Nick Chubbs. I got a bye week, and I don't
yeah,
even know next week. Because our first round, I don't even know if I'm going to start Nick Chubbs. To be honest, he might be riding the pine. Honestly,
you wouldn't be doing wrong because Jameis Winston is throwing that ball at a heavy pace. He's throwing
yeah,
that thing almost 40 times a game, man.
that's crazy.
Um, and then I don't think Chubb is absolutely 100%. I think he's good in his short yardage, but I think they're going to be playing from behind a lot.
Yeah.
So, Pat Mahomes is definitely a start, and Travis Kelce. You can't go wrong with those guys. But
What about Jerry Judy, man? You a
I
big
was
fan
I
of
was
Jerry
just about to
Judy?
mention him, being the fact that Jameis throws this ball so much. Jared Judy and David Njoku, they're locks for me.
Yeah.
Especially the Njoku gets like 12 targets a game. That's crazy.
Yep. Well, you guys know how we like to come in fast and drop it and leave. So we're gonna keep it going. How you doing? Keep it moving. Bengals at Titans noon. Week 14 was T. Higgins' first non-double-digit fantasy score since week 4. What do you feel about him? Do you think that against the Titans that he gets to shine? And who else do you see are must starters with the Titans?
Yes, indeed. It will not be a slip up by T. Higgins this week. I feel that everybody on the Bengals offense is a go for me,
Okay.
especially Chase Brown, and it goes without saying Joe Burrow, who leads the NFL in touchdown
Yeah.
passes. You know,
Yep.
um, and all the weapons at his disposal. Especially we can't forget about Jamar Chase. This week I think he gets his 100th reception for the year. Because that ball's gonna go up in the air against Tennessee.
Yeah, I do too. And he's actually my go-to guy. He'll get me about 35, 40 points or so. I love it, man. I mean, he basically can carry my whole squad, man. 2, 3 players he can carry on his back all by himself. And I'm glad that he hasn't broke yet, because that's a lot of contact, a lot of wear and tear on a guy. You know what I mean? But now that T's back, hopefully, he could take some pressure off of him. Although with the fantasy mind in myself, I'm a little greedy on that, because the Bengals ain't really going nowhere. So I'm just like, you know what? Let's just show out and just put I mean, he could. There's got to be some sort of record that he's getting ready to break, but he's unbelievable, man. That guy is
Yeah,
freaking lights out, dude.
and it
What
is
about
un, it
the?
is
What
it's
about
so
the?
unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that Joe Burrow's having the year he's having in Cincinnati will not be
Yeah,
at the party.
yeah, for sure. What about the Commanders and Saints at noon Eastern? I mean, you got Jeremy Nichols, deep league option, but really, when it comes down to it, you got Derek Carr behind
Look,
center. He's actually
Well,
he's
Carr's
out.
not
He's
playing.
out, and so is
He's out.
Spencer Rattler. They're going to Huter or
Yeah,
something like that over those
yeah,
two guys because they're banged up. So I mean, you got Marquez Valdez Scantling, wasn't worth the ceiling at wide receiver, but you got Alvin Kamara and
yeah.
Jawan Johnson are probably the only two we're starting as far as the Saints go, in my opinion.
Listen, if it's not Taysom Hill or Alvin Kamara, it's nothing for the Saints.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even understand how this game is going to be close. With what the Saints have going on, and with what the Commanders have, and what I think Jaden Daniels, he throws the ball. It's not necessarily his touchdowns that you like, but it's just the fact
yeah.
that he gets those high completions and high passing yards. But Brian Robinson, I think this is gonna be a big game for him. And Scary Terry, you can never count him out.
For sure. Now, here's an interesting one because the Giants ain't doing nothing except probably getting the first round draft pick in the NFL. I mean, what have they got? Like 2 wins this year. They're playing against the Rams or the Ravens
Hmm.
at noon. I just made the Rams play twice this week. That's what I did. Jeez, oh Pete. The Ravens are still a favorable matchup for the passing game, but they have been better in the past 3 games, and Malik Neighbors is an injury risk. There is a near zero floor here. I don't know, man. I would say I would definitely start Neighbors for the Giants. As far as the Ravens go, I know your boy over there at receiver. What was his name?
Zay, big money, big play Zay. Zay Flowers, baby. This is gonna be a week for him. I think he's gonna get it in.
You've been saying that all
I
season.
think so. I think. Hey,
Showing
listen.
flowers as flowers right now, man. I tell
Right,
you what,
listen.
man.
I think he gets his fifth touchdown this week.
His fifth.
Yeah, I think he get this. He's
Jeez,
at
oh,
fourth.
Pete,
He's
man, that's terrible, dude. That's
Yeah,
terrible.
it's bad. But
Hey, I,
when you playing
I
with a
tell
guy
you
like
what,
Derrick Henry,
that backup center that the Bears had, if he wouldn't have fumbled, he might have had freaking only 4. No, he would have 3. He would have 3 less touchdowns than freaking Flowers, man. Come on,
yeah,
dude. I know he's
crazy.
a top 10 receiver in the NFL, but you got to have some touchdowns in order to be a fantasy football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's the name of the game, bro.
yeah. But I don't trust Drew Lock, man. I think Drew Lock, as far as Malik Neighbors is concerned,
Yeah.
it's gonna be tough for him today. Even though the Ravens have difficulties with speed, but having Drew Lock as your quarterback, he's a turnover machine, man. And I think it's gonna be a long day for him.
What about
And
Rashad Bateman?
Yeah, he's sneaky, man. But he's another guy. You just know you never. As of late, he's come on pretty good, but you just never know when he's going to be in the lineup or when
Yeah.
he's not.
Dude, I'll tell you what, these few couple games that we broke down are straight bootylicious, man. There's really not a whole lot of excitement when in terms of fantasy football. You got basically like one guy on each freaking team. Now,
Yeah.
the Bengals, obviously, you got 3 in T. Higgins, right? Because he's back now,
Uh-huh.
and freaking, that's the thing about it is you got two receivers, 1 quarterback. I mean, outside of that, we really ain't cooking with a whole lot. But now we're going to get into something a little exciting right after we get past the Cowboys and Panthers, because yet again, there's not a whole lot of a whole lot to unpack there, except Dowdle now is exciting people. I got him on my bench. I'm probably going to end up starting him next week. I hope that my opponent isn't paying attention to this breakdown right now, because that
Uh-huh.
is my secret weapon when I bench Nick Chubbs, bro.
Well,
Dowdle, I'm gonna start him, bro.
in this game, there's 2 guys I know that we can count on. That's Chuba Hubbard and that's C.D. Lamb. Those guys are going to be very productive this week against one another
Okay,
because Dallas is terrible against the run,
yeah,
and C.D. Lamb gets his touches against anybody. And it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback.
but I'm telling
Now,
you right now, Dowdle's averaging 16.3 points per game, which would be a running back 8 on the year. So
yeah,
he's actually doing pretty good, man. So don't sleep on my boy Dowdle, man.
oh, not at all. Especially with the with Cooper Rush in the lineup because he's getting a lot more opportunities because they're running the ball a lot more.
What
and he's
about
getting his
Thielen? You
touches.
ain't got a feeling for Thielen?
Listen, Trayvon Diggs is out for I think he's out for the remainder of the year. So there is a possibility that Thielen can, get a few touches, but I don't think he's going to do anything to impact fantasy.
But he's always finds his nose in the end zone, so that might actually be a saving grace if he can get one and some yards. Maybe come out with. But yeah, you're right. You need at least,
Absolutely.
yeah, you
But
need
shout
about
shout out to
15.
Bryce Young because he's been playing well the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, shout out to Bryce, man. Let's how you doing? Keep it moving. Let's get Jets and Jaguars into this. Another straight. I mean, come on, man. If you're watching this
Uh,
game, you ain't got a life or you just love football. You know what I mean? Uh Sunday at noon again, Eastern. What about if Brees Hall? I say start Brees Hall. I say start Brees Hall. Consider him running back number 2. Um, you know, Braylon
he,
Allen.
yeah,
Isaiah Davis, here's some names that you got. I mean, what are you looking at over there with the Jets and Jaguars, bro? Who do you like?
Well, I know Brees. I know Brees Hall was out last week,
Yeah.
so I don't know if he's going to play this week.
Yep.
I have him on one of my fantasy teams, so I'm hopeful.
Okay.
But
I like
Tank
that guy,
Bigsby,
man.
yeah, me too. Tank Bigsby, very interesting guy, and the Jets are terrible against the run as well.
I got him
Um,
as backup, but I don't know who to start. That's my question for you. I've been
yeah,
waiting for this moment. Who to
I
start
mean,
between the Jaguars running backs, man? Who do you start between the two Jaguars running backs? If you could only pick one, it'd be kind of weird to pick two because then you'd be kind of being like running back purgatory because you don't want to start two running backs on the same damn team, bro.
nah, don't do that to yourself, please. Um, Listen, I'm going Bigsby.
Okay.
I'm going with Bigsby because I think, you know, they're going to get a chance to get to the end zone, and when they get in that red zone, I think they count on him a lot more than they do ATN.
Yeah.
But NTN is versatile, but he has ball security issues, so I'm a roll with Tank.
Okay, what about the Dolphins at Texans at noon? This year's Dolphins offense doesn't operate the same as it did last year, and I've discussed this in the past. A few weeks ago, Jalen Waddle is better against many heavy defenses that have the zone, But
Yeah,
due to that, unfortunately for Waddle, the Texans are fifth heaviest against zone. So I don't know what he will do there. I like CJ Stroud, even though he's in that kind of like that sophomore slump.
yeah.
Um, but he was without Nico Collins for much of the year. But defenses taking away from Tank, where do you sit with this, man? Where do you sit with the Tank, the Nico, CJ Stroud? We got some. We finally have some offensive weapons to unpack, man.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot of fireworks today. The Dolphins are indoors; they don't have to deal with the elements.
There you go.
Uh,
I like that.
hey, Tua is at his best when the elements do not come into play. But a thing about the Dolphins that's a little different from them last year, they're leaning on the running back a lot more than they have in the past.
Yeah.
Achan touches the ball a whole lot, so guys that have him on the fantasy team, I think he's a big play today. Also Tyreek Hill and Tua, because Tua's gonna get the opportunities indoors. I think it's something about the
Okay.
coaching staff that like to that
Indoors.
has an issue with the elements. But even now on the other side, because Miami ain't stopping nobody. They have Jalen Ramsey. I think he can, stay in front of Nico Collins, but it's not gonna stop CJ Stroud from doing his thing. And my man Joe Mixon. Joe,
Yeah.
Joe, listen, Joe could have been leading the league in rushing if he didn't get hurt. But Mixon is having a heck of a year. He has 11 touchdowns on the ground, 800, almost 900 yards. I think he's going to have a big week this week against Miami.
You heard it first. Start Joe Mixon. It's nice that they're in the mix indoors and not in the wintry mix outdoors. Colts at Broncos, 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern. The Broncos blitz the second most, 25.5%. And Anthony Richardson, he does not like the blitz. He's not doing good in those situations at all. So I'm saying don't start Richardson, but here's the deal. What do you feel about Cortland Sutton and anybody else are you looking at with the Colts or the Broncos? Anybody to start?
This may sound funny, and I would like to issue apology to him because I was down on him heavy this the beginning of the season. But Bo Nix has really turned it around and really found his way, and I think he's gonna have a big week against this Indianapolis secondary.
Let me just say one thing about that too, because a lot of people are not giving enough praises to the OC. I really think the OC who partnered with Sean Payton, and I'm talking about grandson from Lombardi, Joe
Lombardi.
Lombardi. Yeah, Joe Lombardi, I think he's doing a really good job with Bo. I don't think this is all Sean Payton. When somebody sees a hierarchy like a Sean Payton or something like that, they just throw it on the head coach. I have to say that Joe, that's the reason why Sean brought him from the Saints when they were together over to Denver. I think Joe needs a really careful consideration in, if not this year, next year in a head coaching position, because everybody is really quick to hire these OCs as a head coach. Shout out to Joe, man. I give him a lot of praises, man. If you look at his whole trajectory as a coach, he started out in the defense and worked his way into the offense, man. I mean, he's well-rounded, man. He really is.
Yeah. And, just those three as a collective, because I think each one of those guys have done their part, and especially the player in Bo Nix. Sean Payton threw him in the fire early, and had him throwing the ball a whole lot early on, and it wasn't really working out for him. But he's caught on. He's got a lot wiser in his reads and been making a lot of plays. I like him and Corey Sutherland against this Indianapolis secondary.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely with Sutherland, even though he's only broke 20 points once this year. He has that ability to do so. And I think it will be interesting to see what he does today. Cortland is definitely a sleeper, but you kind of glossed over the whole Joe Lombardi, man. What's your thoughts on him, or have you really not thought much about him?
Well, Joe with Joe Lombardi, I mean, I don't want to say I haven't thought much about him, but it's funny, like when these offensive minded head coaches, get coordinators and things like that, we don't really know who's calling plays or anything like that. So, like sometimes they give those guys the offensive coordinator position just so they can get interviews for head coaching jobs. Like we've seen a lot of that throughout the league, especially in Kansas City, to name a team, just to point out a team that, makes it obvious. Because if you notice, those offensive coordinators that leave Kansas City don't lose a beat because Andy Reid's the one calling the plays. So I just wonder if that's a similar situation in Denver.
Take a look when you have a chance in your busy schedules and take a look at his whole trajectory, starting from where, he started all the way down. Look at all his numbers and where he was at and everything. It's an interesting look. I think he's, kind of like quiet about it, but I do like the whole bloodline there. I mean, could you imagine if he came over to Chicago and freaking dude, you know what I'm saying? Talk about a story. You know how Trax likes to flip it upside down, so
hey, but shit, maybe that'll help with this curse that we have against these damn Packers, man.
Right, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, you gotta have something to even it out, like they always talk about sacrificing the goat or something. Like, I don't know, let's sacrifice a Lombardi and bring Vince's grandson over here to flip it upside down on its head, but let's get back on tracks, right? Okay, so here's
another thing in this game. I mean, not to cut you off, I'm sorry, but
you're good.
Denver's defense is pretty good, but listen, if Jonathan Taylor's in the lineup, I like him pretty much every week.
Yeah,
it hasn't been. He's been up and down a lot this week, but it's hard. It's hard for me to go against him because he's a fantasy stud, man.
Talk about a pedigree. Bills at Lions, man. Talk about Super Bowl playoff implications. Honest to God's truth. Bills at Lions. We could be looking at Super Bowl preview. Bills at Lions at 3:00, 4:00 Eastern. I mean, if Keon Coleman returns, he's in play as a Hail Mary option. Coleman is wide receiver 13 this year, but I think he could be a lot better than that. Week 14 was James Cook's worst fantasy outing of the season. Don't look at him to cook like that again. I think he gets back on track. I mean, you got Josh Allen, Curtis Samuel. What's your take on this? What are you looking at as to the starts and sits of Bills at Lions?
Well, first of all, if this game ends up like the Rams and 49ers, I'll be very disappointed.
Damn, why you gotta do us like that, Darius?
Hey,
Come on, man.
We have to start there, man, because I was really looking for some fireworks in that game, and I got complete duds. But this game, hey, we got two MVP candidates going up against one another, and Jared Goff and Josh Allen. So those guys are automatic starts. I don't care what's going on because Buffalo ain't stopping nobody, and I don't think Detroit is either. Your sneaky pick, Shakir, Josh Allen and Shakir always find a way to connect and get in the end zone. And I agree with you wholeheartedly on Cook. I think Cook is going to really cook against Detroit because they have issues with with the run game as well.
Yeah. That's through the whole NFC North. If you really pay attention to the NFC North and you watch them, you watch like big old gaps through the middle. People can run on them. And I don't know why people abandon that and they start like passing, but legit, you could find a way to really cook against the NFC North in terms of running against them. That's where I would look. I mean, I'm not the guy that, I'm not the defensive coordinator. I'm just saying I watch these games, okay? Yeah, I'm going to quote Darius in this. I watch these games, and I see holes, bro, that Darius and I could both run through, dude.
Hey, but the key is, you can't play from behind. If you're playing from behind, that automatically eliminates the running game.
Very good point. Very good point, bro.
And I think these guys going to go back and forth. Hell, if you guys out there got any field goal kicker that belongs to any one of these squads, I think you can take him too.
Dude, I got the Lions freaking kicker. He's been amazing this year, bro.
Yeah,
amazing.
Points are going up, sir.
Huh?
Points are going up. Detroit as a team, they've already scored 417 points. So that
was one of my most favorable quotes that I had of you this year that I've been throwing around a lot was you said if you were going to win games this year, put it on a field goal kickers because they're the ones that have been doing it this year, man.
Yeah, right. Because listen, how many games have we watched, week to week the way it comes down to guys making field goals? From the very start
12
of the season.
6. You just quoted a game right there, 12-6. That's all field goals, bro.
Yeah. And if we remember, Pittsburgh beat Atlanta, and I think their field goal kicker, he kicked like 6 in one game. Like it's been a couple, like this season, this has been a season of the kicker, good or bad.
Listen, Darius, I got people trying to poach you from every angle, man. Everybody's been trying to get you on the fantasy. I says, you know what? Chicago Sports Super Network, we're opening up the doors. We had them closed for a little bit, but I'm confident you'll always come back. So there's been a few guys that have reached out to me, and I want to make sure, Keds is first and foremost my guy. I want to make sure that you get out to him. He's with on the Nomad Network. Our brothers at four stars. They've been asking about you and a couple others. So let's get you out there before the season's over because some of these guys are struggling in their fantasy content. So let's get you out there when you have time. Let's unpack a few more.
I love to.
Steelers at Eagles. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock Eastern. This is a fascinating game for me. I'm going to be very excited. I hope I'm around to watch this. I hope my schedule and the day opens up to where I can watch this game. Eagles have the 4th highest QB pressure with only 4 rushers, and the Steelers allow the 4th highest QB pressure with just 4 rushers. Russell Wilson is completing only 30% of his passes while under pressure at 22nd. George Pickens sounds unlikely to play. If he's out, he's worth, if he's out there, he's worth playing as a wide receiver 3, similar to Malik Neighbors last week. I think Pat Freiermuth is somebody that's a modest bump as far as tight end.
Yes,
but you should avoid anyone else not named Jalen Warren. And I'd find a way to sit Najee Harris if possible, man, which is disappointing for me to say.
Well, not so fast, my friend. Because in this game, I think the running backs, those three guys, those two guys along with Saquon Barkley are going to be very pivotal in this matchup. This is going to be a heavyweight fight, you know what I mean? Because you have Steelers with a great defense, versus the Eagles who have this ball control thing that they do with Saquon Barkley. Because I don't really think they trust Jalen Hurts as much. Now,
Yeah, with that whole drama going with Jalen Hurts and that receiver, man. I mean, that's kind of like an interesting thing.
Now, with all the drama that's been going on with them, usually when there's drama, there's a response to the drama. So I think A.J. Brown's going to get a lot of looks today.
Yeah, did you see AJ come on his Instagram and he did something right after all of that? I forgot what it was, but I let's hope it's not a girl because a lot of times that happens. So I'm not saying it is, we're not TMZ here, but if it's a girl, it might be a little deeper than we think. You know what I mean? So
well, usually it either comes down to a girl or some money. So
or both. Or both.
Yeah, and if it's both, he's really in trouble. But based on from a football standpoint, there's no Dallas Goedert. They have the young man from Alabama on the other side, but I think they're gonna feed the crying dog this week.
I'll tell you what. Let's get into the Patriots and Cardinals 3:00 game. I mean, outside of your boy Stevenson, Ramondre, and Marvin Harrison Jr., I really don't want to talk about anybody else. But who would you like to talk about? I mean, I'd like to move right on to the Buccaneers and Chargers for time's sake.
No, we can't. We can't because we cannot discount two guys for Arizona. Number one is McBride, and number two is Connor. Connor quietly has had a pretty good year, man. He's had a pretty good year, and now we know what Kyler Murray is.
Gosh,
but he loves him some McBride, and so do I because I have McBride on my fantasy team. As far as Drake May is concerned, he may have a tough week this week because Arizona's coming with it. But everything else, I pretty much agree with you. There's not much else to talk about.
No, and for time's sake, I'd like to move on because I know you're really going to want to talk the wheels off this one. Buccaneers at Chargers, 3:00 game. Your boy over there, Ladd McConkey, you were talking about him early, and a lot of people say, you don't just sit him, man. Don't just sit him.
He's questionable, but
if he returns, you don't want to sit that guy.
Yeah.
But if he would push Joshua Palmer out and Quentin Johnson into 4 and 5. So if McConkey is out, you can boost both of them into 3 or 4 range, but not really exciting, sexy picks, man. But talk about Bucky Irving. If he plays, he's got to be a must start.
Yes, indeed. Bucky Irving has been very impressive coming out of Oregon. And Tampa Bay has used him very well. I was very impressed with the way they've decided to utilize him. But shout out to my boy Baker Mayfield. Baker's a fighter, man. I think we all knew that. But I think Baker, he's going to have an interesting matchup with the Chargers defense. But I think he and Mike Evans is money in the bank. It's hard to deny those guys, especially if Bucky Irving's out. Rashad White is
out, you gotta start Rashad White and then put Sean Tucker as a flex.
Yeah, Rashad White had a pretty good week last week. He won. I used him on my parlay last week, so he had a pretty good week. But the most disappointing thing of this whole matchup between these two is the fact that J.K. Dobbins is on IR. Starting the year, J.K. Dobbins was huge for me, but the fact that he's on IR, man, is very disappointing, and I think it's going to make it a lot tougher for Justin Herbert.
We
because
got two really good games coming up right here. The Packers, Seahawks, and Bears at Vikings. I'm sure that's going to take some time. We're already at the 35-minute point. Hopefully we can get through this. Sorry about this being long-winded, guys, but it's hard to cover all these games, man, especially with the playoff implications and everything that you guys got. So hang with us, okay? We're trying to get through this as best as possible. Packers at Seahawks, Sunday, night game, 7:20 Central. Oh my gosh. Talk about a game, right? I mean, we're looking at two teams that we got to play, and we play Monday night against the Vikings.
yeah,
So let's talk about the Packers and Seahawks. If Romeo Doubs returns, Jaden Reed would be the top Packers wideout, followed by Doubs and Christian Watson, though all three would be closely ranked. I mean, it's really hard to pick who to start there, but the Seahawks defense has turned a corner since midseason, and you can see it in the APA numbers. They are minus 0.29 for QBs and minus 3.0 for wide receivers compared to the league average. So they really turned the corner. But what do you say about that?
Well, see, the Seahawks in the secondary are finally getting healthy. They, 2 years ago, they were one of the best secondaries in taking away the football. But those two guys are finally getting healthy. But they're gonna have a tough go against Green Bay. I'm sorry. I think anybody that has Josh Jacobs on the fantasy team, I think he's good to go because Seahawks have trouble stopping the run. But the two quarterbacks in Love and Smith, I think they're gonna let that thing go. They're gonna have big weeks this week against one another.
Now, if Kenneth Walker is out, Zach Charbonnet is the top running back into conversation. And if Walker returns, I'd consider Walker and Charbonnet as we do Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Walker may be safer, but Charbonnet has the upside, and he could even lead the way given his recent performance. What do you say about that?
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Like you said, Walker's doubtful, but Charbonnet is more than ready to, fill in that spot and can get you a couple of points, if you're just down to your last.
Yeah, let's talk about the Bears and Vikings Monday night, 7 o'clock game. I'll be up there, Bridges Scoreboard, your Northwest Indiana, Chicago sports headquarters with a Hall of Fame menu and the coldest beer in Chicagoland. I'll be up there with Pro Bowl Henry Melton and my guy, former QB Jim Miller from Sirius Channel 88 radio. Great guy, a lot of good content. We'll be up there giving away pretty much everything that's not nailed down to the floor. We're going to have a 55-inch Chicago Bears TV to give away, 50/50s, you name it. We got it, man. It's going to be good times, in-game talks, discussions, all this good stuff, trivia, a lot of good times, man. Come on up there and hang out in Griffith, Indiana with your boy Trax. Here we go. So, the Vikings blitz is a league high at 26.9%. Caleb Williams is just 28th in touchdowns plus one attempts when blitz at 15.6%, with the second highest sack percentage of 13.7, man. As you previously saw before, Williams handled the Vikings well. 0 sacks when blitz. DJ Moore and Keenan Allen had big games. And while I would go back to Moore and Allen this week, I wouldn't lock Williams into a repeat given the likely adjustments by Brian Flores in the Vikings defense. What do you got to say about this game? Who's a start? Who's a sit?
A start, Aaron Jones, Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams. I think Caleb's gonna have a big. We'll have a 3,000-yard passer by Tuesday morning. I think so. He's not that far from it, but we did a good job of neutralizing Justin Jefferson last time. But
yeah,
Addison, Hockenson, they tore us up. And Aaron Jones always kills the Bears no matter what uniform he's in. But Aaron Jones is a lock for me to start. It's going to be interesting, though. If I had any guarantee to give you, I'd say Aaron Jones.
Here's a really boring game. Falcons at Raiders, man. Monday night, second game. That starts a little bit later than ours at 7:30. But make sure you tune into the Bears and Vikings because that's what we're all about. The NFC North and Chicago Bears. So Falcons at Raiders, the interceptions were drive killers, but Kirk Cousins looked better than he has in weeks, especially given it was a tough matchup. Now he gets the Raiders, and their run zone is just 59.9% of the time, fourth lowest. Also, Giants next week, and they're the second lowest. It's not without risk, but Cousins has some streamability this week. I say, I mean, I would start Cousins the next 2 weeks if that's the case. First, he goes up against the Raiders, then the freaking Giants. What do you say about that, man?
Hey, let's be honest. The Raiders not trying to win. There's no Max Crosby. Kirk Cousins should have a pretty good game this week in Las Vegas. Also, your boy, Big Time Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
I think he's going to annihilate the Falcons. Like
yeah.
he's going to get a whole bunch of touches. You know what I'm saying? I would expect him to get probably, anywhere from 7 to 10 receptions versus this Falcons defense. Gardner Minshew's out. Aiden McConnell's questionable. Oh boy.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Alexander Madison returns, stay away from the backfield. If he remains sidelined, McCormick is a volume reliant running back 2 or 3. So, I mean, that's if you're looking at a running back and you have to go that far, you're in trouble, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I think Brock Bowers. I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Bowers. I know I may be a little. I may sound a little funny when I say this, but I wouldn't be surprised if Brock Bowers get about 15 to 20 targets this game, man. It's gonna be bad, man.
Yeah. Hey,
It's
let's
gonna
talk
be
about
bad.
week 15 sleepers. For my quarterback, I got Kirk Cousins because we've seen the floor, but that's why Cousins is a sleeper here. My running back is Rico Dowdle Dallas and
hmm
Justice Hill from Baltimore. Giants can't stop running backs, plus hope for garbage time touchdowns. My wide receivers are Keenan Allen. If the Bears plan to rebound, Allen will be needed. Also, Adam Thielen for Carolina. He's not really a sleeper, or well, he shouldn't be. Thielen is a must start. And Marvin Harrison Jr. From Arizona, another one of those. He's been inconsistent, but the matchup is promising. My tight end goes to Jake Ferguson from Dallas. He's got a good matchup, and he saw 6 targets against the Bengals, even though he only caught half of them.
Nice. For me, a sleeper for me would be at tight end.
Yeah.
Well, if he's available, it will be Cole Komet. Cole Komet is a sleeper for me. I know it sounds funny, but with the way that Minnesota likes to blitz, he's going to have some open opportunities to catch the ball. They can run a couple of tight end screens for him as well. So I think Cole Komet and fair move against Philadelphia. As far as quarterback concerned, we spoke about Bo Nix. He's in an advantageous situation against Indianapolis. And also my guy in Carolina, a young guy in Carolina, I think he's asleep as well. Bryce Young. This is an opportunity for him to have a very big game against the Dallas Cowboys, who really can't stop anyone.
Yeah,
Let's be honest.
I think I would definitely look at Young over Knicks as a sleeper. I think Knicks, everybody knows Knicks by now, dude. I don't think anybody, if you're sleeping on freaking Bo, dude, you're under a rock because that guy's been freaking looking really good. He does not look like a rookie QB this year at all. Once they figured it out and stopped throwing so damn much, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, listen, let's go really quickly. Usually we do our fantasy football rankings for each position. We go through 10. Let's just do 5 because of time's sake. We're already at the 45-minute mark. QBs, Lamar Jackson, 1, Josh Allen, 2, Jaden Daniels, 3, Jalen Hurts, 4, Joe Burrow, 5. Sam Darnold is at 6. We went ahead and did that because you gave a shout out to Sam Darnold earlier. Running backs. Derrick Henry, 1, Saquon Barkley, 2, Joe Mixon, your boy, 3, Bijan Robinson, 4, and your other boy, Chase Brown, 5, with A-Chain at the rear of 6. Receivers, Jamar Chase, 1, Puka Kanua, 2, I don't think that's going to happen. Nico Collins, 3, Justin Jefferson, 4, Tyreek Hill 5, and CeeDee Lamb at 6. Tight ends, Brock Bowers. What was your nickname for him?
Big time Brock.
Big time Brock, number 1. George Kittle 2. That ain't gonna happen. Trey McBride 3, Travis Kelce 4, Jonnu Smith 5, and Sam Laporta 6. If one of those guys have already played and he's been debunked, I go to 6. You notice that?
Yeah.
Let's go into the flexes. Derrick Henry 1, Saquon Barkley 2, Joe Mixon 3, Bijan Robinson 4, Jamar Chase 5, Chase Brown 6. Super flex, you've got Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, and Sam Darnold. Now with defense, Baltimore Ravens 1, Vikings 2. And that's probably because of the matchup against the 3 Chiefs, 4 Commanders, Broncos 5, Eagles 6. I will say this. It's been an up and down year for my Chiefs as far as defensive starting. They've been up sometimes, they've been down. It's not been really that advantageous for me, but they're doing all right. They're averaging decent, decent.
Yeah, that defense is more situational than anything. But they're gonna be at they're gonna have a very opportunistic week going against Jameis Winston.
Yeah, against Cleveland, dude. I as far as the LASIK and glasses, I don't think it doesn't matter anymore. It's you just got to make better decisions with the ball. I don't think it's the eyeballs; it's what's behind the eyeballs. He's got to tighten up. So, but anyways, let's see what happens, man. I mean, this is a week that you guys have to pick them right. So we did the best that we could to unpack it. We appreciate you guys spending this morning with us. You got any final comments, Darius? Thank you for your time, by the way, brother.
Hey, listen, thanks for having me, man. Thank you guys for being up early in the morning with us. It's always a pleasure reaching out and getting in touch with the people. Shout out to the whole, Chicago Sports Podcast family. We're here to bring the business to you guys, and we appreciate the chat a great deal.
Yep, we definitely appreciate you guys. Thank you for spending the morning with us, as Darius said. Darius, you be safe in your bouts, and I know that you're going to be a lot warmer than we are here in Chicago. Although we did have a little uptick, man. It wasn't too bad yesterday. I took the boy looking to look at some Christmas lights and whatnot, and it was mid-40s, but some precipitation today will be a little bit better. I'm not complaining at all, man. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, we're up to 45 degrees right now, man. So,
already.
Yeah, that's freezing to me.
Yeah, that's your super flex, bro. That's your super flex. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Have a good one. Peace out and bear down.